evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are starting another episode of our podcast. We hope you all, tax avoiders and executive poachers, enjoy it. This is the most special episodes of the all times. It can't get any more special than today's episode. Here with me, my partner and friend that I made because of the game, Jonathan, CEO of JS Electronics. How are you, Jonathan?
Bom dia, senhores. Estamos aqui em mais um podcast e hoje é aquele podcast exclusivaço, hein, que a gente tá divulgando aí faz um tempo. Hoje a gente trouxe o poderoso chefão, né? Trouxe aqui o patrão do Patrick, o cara que manda e desmanda no Sim Companies, o deus criador de tudo. Estamos com quem aqui hoje, então, ô Maurício?
Today we are going to talk to the almighty divine hand behind the game. Mr. Patrick is here with us. How are you, Patrick?
Very good. Hello, guys.
Hello, Patrick. First of all, we'd like to say thank you very much for accepting our invitation. We know how busy you are with the development of the food industry expansion and how hard you are trying. You have been working at it. So thanks again on behalf of the entire Brazilian community for your precious time.
Of course. Thanks for inviting me.
I am so happy, man. I can express in words how happy I am and how nervous I am to talk with you. So thank you. Usually we start the episode talking about the economy phase, and we ask the players to talk about their company's history in the game. But today is a different episode and the most special episode ever. So we will go straight to the questions because we have a lot of questions from the Brazilian community. Would you like to make an introduction or say something before we start the questions? I don't know, any fun fact, spoiler or something like that?
Well, as you said, I've been working hard on the food extension and hopefully it can come out this week. But I'd like to thank Brazilian community. This is players in Brasilia are the third largest group in sim companies, so you have a big voice in the development, and your feedback is valuable. And I'd like to thank you. I'm not sure how I deserve that and why is the game so popular in Brazil, but I'd like to mention that it is, and it's really big there.
We appreciate a lot the game. I don't know. I think it's different for all other kinds of the games, and I don't know. I just love it for the first time, you know. And I think the most players also do love it from the first sight. You said about the food extension to be updated on this week, so this episode will go live at Sunday night. So maybe until there, we just have the food extension.
So I have another week.
Yeah, you may have another week to put it on. Yeah. So here we go. Jonathan, quer fazer as perguntas?
Vamos lá então, fazendo as perguntas aqui do pessoal, dos ouvintes que mandaram para nós, tá? A primeira pergunta, né, é a seguinte: de onde surgiu a ideia para a criação do jogo, né, o Sim Companies?
Yeah, quem fez a pergunta?
Os nomes eu não tenho aqui os nomes.
Tá bom, beleza. Patrick, the guys are asking, how did you come up with the idea of creating the game? We know we have the about pages where you talk about a hobby and so, but can you talk about the background thing and how it really come up?
Sure, I played a similar game when I was younger. It was an online game, and I liked it. And I wanted to play the same game really, and I brought it up, and it felt really outdated. There was no update on it for 20 years. And I thought I should make a similar game, maybe even better, because the UX felt really outdated and it didn't have many of the mechanics that sim companies has. So I started building it, and it worked, but it was a lot more work than I expected. But this is essentially it. I wanted to play a game and I couldn't find it online, so I decided to make it.
Nice. I am the same position as you. I just played some online economy simulators, but not one good as yours. But I don't create one. I just join yours.
Thanks.
I don't have
Maybe
the
if you were
ability to
faster.
create. Oh God.
I seriously underestimated how much work it would be. I thought, okay, this should be easy, and if I knew how much work it would be upfront, I'm not sure I would have undertaken that. But I'm glad I did, and the feedback from players is really helping.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, thanks God you don't know how much work it will go in the future. Okay, so next question.
Essa pergunta que a gente fez agora, tá? Sobre de onde surgiu a ideia, foi feita pelo Gentleman, né? O nosso top 1 BR aí.
The previous question was made by Gentleman Corporation, the best Brazilian in the rank.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, he's huge.
Próxima pergunta é a seguinte: quando você pensou em criar o Sim Companies, já imaginou que chegaria onde está hoje?
Well, I think you just answered this, but the question is, when you talked of the creation of the Sim Companies, did you ever imagine that it will get to where is it today?
No, it really surprised me, because I'm not sure whether this is written on the About page as well, but I built the first version.
Mm-hmm.
It had much worse graphics, and I wanted to test the idea. We had just few food products and oil, I believe. There were like 10 resources altogether and 5 buildings. And I wanted to see how players would react to it and whether people would like it as I did. And it didn't get much traction. I had it online and like nobody was playing. I tried advertising a little bit, not too much, and I wasn't getting good numbers. It cost me like $10 to get one registration.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, maybe it wasn't the best idea, and I let it be. And then after 1 year, as a miracle, Google started showing the game on the first pages, and players started signing up on their own organically. And that was, it surprised me actually. Like, I was like, wow, what's happening? And then I started working on the game again.
Nice, very nice. Next question.
Esta pergunta que a gente acabou de ler foi feita pelo New Words, tá? Próxima pergunta foi feita pelo Edgar, né, do MTA Construction. Em algum momento você pensou em desistir de desenvolver o jogo e jogar tudo pro alto?
Okay. MTA Constructions asked, did you ever think of giving up developing the game and throw it all away?
Well, after the first launch, when it wasn't so successful, I didn't give up on the game, but I thought, okay, maybe I work on something else, and I let it be online. I just stopped developing it. So I thought, okay, maybe I get back to it later on. I had other projects on my hands at the time, so I was concentrating on other things. And then the game called me back, basically.
Nice. Next question.
Quais são os grandes planos para o futuro do Sim Companies?
Okay. What are the big plans for the future of the Sim Companies?
Well, the food extensions, obviously, and then what we have on the future development article. So I'd like to have future contracts where players can agree on a price they'll be trading goods at upfront. This is requested a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you can stabilize your pipeline for the time coming and take some risks or hedge yourself. And then also the building auctions. So you can trade buildings with other players. That's also been requested a lot. And then I don't know. There are a few things we had on the future development article which we took down. There was a talk about clans, kind of. I mean, it wouldn't be clan because it's in companies, but
conglomerates.
For it. Not conglomerates, like a monopoly, but with multiple companies.
Okay.
Cartels, going to the
Cartels.
cartel.
Okay.
De cartel a gente entende.
Next question.
Graças às nossas séries da Netflix, né? Vamos lá. Próxima pergunta. Se ele tem alguma ideia, né, que ele anda pensando pra implementar no jogo pra deixar o game mais realista, né?
I think it's a little bit similar to the previous one, but it's what the ideas do you think about implementing the game to make it more realistic?
Okay, well, realistic was never a goal of the game.
Okay.
So
No, that's nice because just up front, that's not our goal. Okay.
because there are other simulators who try to be much more realistic. I was more going for a fun game. I wanted to bring the nice experience which is in business, so the players can do the interesting decisions and not be burned in like the day-to-day maintenance and taxes, and I'm not sure what else the real businesses do. It's good to borrow mechanics from real world because those are easier understandable to the players. They understand that apples are sold in groceries, but it's not the goal to simulate real life.
Yeah, real life with bureaucracy and all other things, right?
Yeah, I mean the best simulator if you want to play real business is to start one. It won't get more realistic than that.
But there's a very large chance to go bankrupt, right?
Yeah, that's not fun.
Okay. Next question.
Sobre a questão dos outros setores. Quais setor ele sente que tá faltando no jogo, né? Se tem algum setor que ele pretende implementar que ele sente que tem essa falta desse setor dentro do jogo.
Okay. Thinking in the future, okay, which industries do you feel is missing in the game?
It feels like I already answered that. I'd like to have the contracts and the buildings as soon as possible after the food extension is out.
Yeah, but the question is, do you feel any other industries? I don't know, pharmaceutical, ships. People talk about ships a lot. Do you feel there's?
Sorry, I misunderstood.
Huh?
Yeah, I misunderstood before, but
Okay.
to comment on new industries, I'd like to have industries in the game that make sense. For me, it doesn't work like the more the better.
Okay.
Like if we had ship industry, it would be very, very similar to aerospace in a way that it would be a complex pipeline.
Yes.
And it would depend on mining. So it would be essentially the same with different images. And I don't think that's adding value to the game. I much rather add the food industry because that doesn't depend on the mining and could have complex pipelines and would give the players a choice to go this way or that way. And I think it would be different playing experience rather than just doing the same thing with different images. So if we were adding new industry, it would need to be somehow different to the others to like support different play style. For pharmaceuticals, I'm not sure I really see it. Like players suggested a lot, but to me it feels like in real world at least this is based heavily on research. And the margins are large and I don't know, the inputs are not that expensive for drugs.
Yes.
It's more about the research. I'm not sure how we would emulate that, but it could be different to other businesses if we thought about it. But the ships I don't really see happening. We had a poll asking whether players want aerospace or ships, and the aerospace won. And right now I can't really see us having both because they're just so similar basically.
Okay. Yeah, maybe don't make sense, right? Yeah, that's true. Don't make sense to have two similar industries. I don't know, but next question.
A ideia dos leilões dos edifícios foi abandonada ou será somente adiada em função da nova indústria de alimentos?
Well, you just answered this one. That's about the building actions. If it has been abandoned or it's postponed because of the food industry expansion. But so in the near future, maybe we have it, right?
Yeah, it wasn't abandoned, and I want to have it, and I don't think it's that much work. Comparing to the food industry, it should be much easier. So it will be just a question whether we want to do the building oceans first or the future contracts first.
Okay. Next question.
Essa aqui é uma pergunta mais complexa, né? Ele perguntou o seguinte: caso o senhor saiba, o jogo usa ou costuma usar quantas casas decimais para fazer os cálculos? Né? No caso, o custo de mão de obra para produzir uma energia, né, fica em 0,16 centavos. Então isso é meio que um valor exato ou aproximado, né?
That's a long and complex question. So it's about the mechanics of the game. How many decimals numbers the game uses to do the calculations. He says an example, the labor cost to produce power is 0.16. Is this an exact number or approximate value?
Okay. Well, some values are stored as floating points, and those would have that kind of precision, whatever Python uses for a floating point.
Okay.
And prices, otherwise in the database, I store that as whole numbers, so they are rounded. But for this kind of labor computations, it would be using whatever Python uses for floating point. So it's not even decimal places, because a floating point is binary, not decimal.
Okay. So, but the labor costs, when it shows 0.16 cents, it's
right.
Exactly.
It's rounded.
Okay. It's rounded. Okay.
That would be rounded.
Okay. So maybe infinite decimal points after, right? So
no, it would be a fixed amount of binary decimal places. I remember that there are actually called decimal places in English when it's in Python.
Okay. Okay. Next question.
Cada item tem um número de unidades vendidas, né, produzidas por hora. Eu queria saber se esses números ele escolhe livremente, aleatoriamente, ou se ele segue algum tipo de lógica, algoritmo, para determinar essas quantidades, né? No caso, a venda de produtos, né? De unidades, ela é feita por algum algoritmo, né? Ou ela é feita tipo livremente, né? Criada pessoalmente, livremente.
Okay, that's other question about the mechanics of the game. So, each item had a certain number of units that are produced or sold, right? Per hour. So this number you generated randomly, or there's a logic behind it, an algorithm behind it?
Right. So at first, at the very first version, I was trying to come up with these numbers and adjust them as players were playing to have it moderate.
Okay.
But that really didn't work. And what I have right now is that how fast they're being produced is assigned by me. That's given.
Okay.
But then the retail cost is automatically derived of how difficult the product is to make. So I take into account how many seconds of production is needed on each building, how much the building costs. Then there are some margins added, so we have return on investment when you build that building, and that ultimately decides what would be the kind of the middle retail price. So if I right now was to change how fast something is produced and make fuses to produce faster, it would automatically result in the lower retail prices for all the products that are using fuse in their chain. So right now it's kind of semi-automatic. There's an algorithm.
Okay, very nice. So there, if you change anything, the retail price in the end will change too.
Yes.
Well, that's very nice, very clever.
Yeah, it's the only way to keep it somehow balanced. And the products who are using many different resources in the production chain have bonus, and that's why we see aerospace being highly profitable, because those are the most complex products, which I think it makes sense. It's much difficult to get everything organized to build those.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Next question.
Gostaria de saber se ele vai implementar alguns sons no jogo, como som de fundo, clique ou das fábricas em produção, né? Se ele pretende adicionar algum tipo de som no jogo, né? De efeito das fábricas, etc.
Well, that's a different question. I think I never heard it. Do you think about adding some sounds in the game, like ambient sounds or click sounds, factory sounds?
This was suggested a few times. I'm not sure. I personally, as a player, did not see value in that. And when I asked players, some were saying, "Yeah, we need sounds." Others were like, "If you add sounds, make sure there's an option so I can mute it." So it wasn't one of those that everybody would eagerly want. Like, let's say, building auctions are almost unanimously wanted, or the future contracts. This is kind of the category of, I don't know, cartels. We got really mixed feedback on that idea as well. Like, some players were like, yes, we want it. Half were, I don't know. So I'm trying to concentrate on features that make clear sense, that most players want, because my time is limited. But I'm not opposed sounds. It's not like I don't want them there. It's just there didn't seem to be support for it so far.
Yeah,
from the players.
Yeah, and maybe in the beginning everyone will turn the sound on, but then after 1 month everyone is muted again. So yeah,
Depends how good the sound is.
Yeah. Okay. Next question.
O setor alimentício. Não, essa pergunta aqui eu não fiz, né? Queria saber melhor sobre os restaurantes.
Well, that's a very vague question, so I think you can provide us an overview, but the player was asking, I want to know more about the restaurant.
Of course. That was a hot topic on our Q&A session lately as well. I wonder whether this will be out first, or the restaurants would be out first. So maybe this will be already outdated answer. But that the restaurants should be a completely new retailing way for sim companies. So it's similar when the sales office was added. It was different to other shops. And for food, this will be similar in a way that it's something very new. And basically, as a restaurant owner, you will decide what food is on the menu, what do we want to be selling. Then you decide what's the menu price. Basically, the virtual people, your virtual restaurant customers, will always pay the same price for all of the food. Mm-hmm. That's like a fixed menu price. Some restaurants do that even now, like when you have a menu deal. And so upfront you will know your costs. You will know how much the food you have on the menu will cost you. You will know how much you're charging for the menu. What you will not know is how many people will come, what will be your restaurant occupancy. And that will be determined by the game engine based on what other players are doing. Basically, if other restaurants have better rating and lower price, the virtual people will not come to your restaurant but to theirs. And at the same time, if your rating is good and your price is low, then they will come to your restaurant. So after you set all this up, you will know that you get 60% occupancy, and for that you get paid. So this is essentially how that would work.
And there will be showing a bar, right? A line where is the break even, so people will know how many occupants they need to break even, right?
Yes. I guess you already saw the screenshot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a nice column which shows you where's your break even point.
Okay. Nice, very nice. Next question.
o setor alimentício superará os atuais setores em quesito de lucratividade? Eu acho que dependendo da resposta dele vai ter uma grande migração, né? Tem que tomar cuidado para não quebrar. Para não quebrar o mercado.
Uh, they made this question for you, and JS says depending on how the Patrick answers it, maybe the industry will will have tons of players. But the question is, will the food expanded industry be more profitable than the current industries?
Well, that's something I don't even know myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to make it as profitable as aerospace, to have a good counterpart to aerospace and not have just one single good industry. And it's good because this also doesn't depend on mining, so it's a separate flow. But this is hard to model properly, because I can test what the buttons do, I can test if images are showing, but what I cannot test is the game engine, the rating assignment and all this, because it will all depend on what other players are doing. So I would need to test it with hundreds of players to see how that behaves. So I'm trying my best. I would like to model it in a way that it's comparable profit-wise to aerospace. But whether I hit it, whether it be too profitable or too little, I don't know. There'll probably be adjustments. Like when we deployed aerospace industry, we were doing a lot of tweaks to it. Like I'm hoping the food industry release will be less kind of a turmoil. We won't need to do such a drastic changes as for aerospace, but it's possible that we'll be doing readjustments afterwards. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the game reacts to that.
Yeah, thanks. That's a perfect question, because people always ask, how it's gonna be? Can one make money or not? And then you have the perfect question. We don't know. We need to test it and see how it works, right?
Yeah, I think there will be a lot of market ups and downs, and there will be people who could read it good and make money. I mean, with the aerospace, a lot of people made money who were reading the game much better than me, in a way that they saw what was profitable before I did, and could milk it before I cut it down. So it all depends. I think there will be companies who make a lot of money. There will be companies who lose a lot of money. Like, each time when there is instability in market, it's an opportunity to make profits or lose a lot.
Yeah, like any other industry, right? So no change here.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Se ele pretende criar ranking por setores, né? Alguma ação para poder classificar os jogadores por ranking de acordo com o setor que cada um utiliza, né? Que isso aí geraria mais competitividade no game, se ele pretende criar esse ranking por setores.
Okay. People talk a lot about rankings too, okay? And certificates and so on. I think everyone wants to be top one in something, So they are asking if you have any plans to create a ranking by industries, so players can compare themselves with other players in the same industry.
Right. I mean, how would you assign a player to industry?
Yeah, that's hard. I know.
Like, I don't know. Like you have mine. You make minerals and turn into chemicals. Like, which industry is that?
Yeah, and you may have one restaurant, so you're gonna be food industry or mining industry.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I try to have I added a lot of certificates recently for like best producer in every resource category, and I recognize that players want to be best in something, so I try to basically give them something that they would know they are the best and they can put it in their display case. But this would be difficult to assign players to industry.
Yeah, I agree. Ok, next question.
Diz pra ele que eu tô falando pra ele que essa pergunta aqui que eu vou fazer agora deve ser que mais fazem pra ele.
Eu sei, tá.
Essa pergunta é a seguinte: sobre a questão da tão sonhada bolsa de valores, né? Se está em desenvolvimento, se ele pretende realmente implementar uma bolsa de valores, né? Se isso seria viável, enfim, é sobre a bolsa de valores, né? Que disse pra ele que muitos players perguntaram sobre a bolsa de valores.
Oh boy, I think that's the most asked questions of all times. Yeah, for me, I don't know for you, okay? So, many players asked about the market shares and the stock options, the stock market.
Okay.
I don't know. Could you tell us an overview why it's not working and the difficulties? I know we just talk about in the moderator chats, but people
Sure.
don't know right away.
Yeah, this is a complex topic that cannot
Yeah.
be answered in one sentence. Originally, I wanted this to be a new ranking system. Basically, instead of just looking at the value of the company, we would be looking at the share value, and the share value would be assigned by an algorithm. Then players started asking about whether they can trade them, and that was an interesting idea. Basically, the question is, what's the motivation for us? What's the goal? Is it to make money on speculations? Is it to get investment, like when you sell bonds, basically to fund your company? So for funding, we already have bonds and they work. If a company wants to get funded, they issue bonds and they usually get money. I think this is not a problem. There's not something we need to fix. And for speculations and making money, this cannot be done on the current shares because they're always growing. Right now, the price is not market driven, but it's assigned by an algorithm. So whatever you buy, you will always make money. And if trading was added right now, everybody would just have huge profits and for not doing much. I think that would break the game. So that's not the way we could go. One thing I thought we could do, and I presented it to moderators and supporters, was that you would be able to invest in companies as a CEO, as a person, not as a company.
Okay.
So this would be a strange concept. You would get salary from your company, you would have money to invest in shares, and you could buy and sell them, and you would need to pick the companies that are growing the fastest. And we could have another leaderboard who has the most money as a private person as opposed to the company. Mm-hmm. And here I don't care if players were getting too rich too quickly, because you cannot move that money back to the game economy. Mm-hmm. It would be just something for ranking, and that I would be fine with. So this was an option, but players kind of did not like it. They were like, so am I playing as a private person? Am I playing as a company? Why do I have cash here and cash there? So I don't know. I thought it was a good idea, but there wasn't an overwhelming approval of this. So then I went back and thought, okay, I'll keep the shares as a new kind of ranking or scoring mechanism. And that's what I'm thinking right now. Like when there's time, I would like to revisit how the share value is computed and use more of the parameters we have on the income statement, basically to determine how profitable the company is rather than how old it is. And we could use that as for scoring, and that's kind of where I am right now. I'm right now, I don't think I'm gonna ever implement trading with those shares because it doesn't make sense.
Perfect. Thank you for the answer. Yeah, I think the goal for the players was to make money with speculation, with day trade. But I don't know if the market, even if you put a free float market, I don't know if it's gonna be enough. I don't know the answer. Enough negotiations or enough volatility. I forget the word. Volatility. Okay, volatility to even change the price, so we can make money or lose money.
Like if the share price was tradable and price market driven, that you need to, like, in order to sell, you need to find somebody who's buying for the same price, then That would work. That wouldn't add any extra money to the economy. It wouldn't be like profitable no matter what. But then at the same time, for somebody to make money, somebody would need to lose money.
Yes.
And it would be pure speculation. It would be easy for duplicate accounts to cheat. And I don't see how that's adding value to the game in a way that basically it's not you wouldn't be making decisions on how profitable the companies are. The decisions would be on pure speculation, whether you can sell it later to somebody else, basically.
Yeah,
it will be like all bubbles.
And the main goal of the game is make money by producing and retail, right? Not speculation. That needs to be clear, because people like to make money with trade, especially with AS product.
Right. Oh, it's good to do speculation. It's a valid way to make money, but if the game was only about speculation, then yes. I don't think it would be fun.
Yeah, nice. Okay, next question.
Tem uma pergunta aí, Maurício, se for ver na segunda página, tá? Tu vê que ela é bem grande, né? Mas ela basicamente querendo ensinar como o cara faz pra botar a bolsa de valores. É basicamente
pode
isso.
Pular.
Então, exatamente, por isso que eu tava te falando, já que isso aí acho que não compensa, né? Tem uma também que fala o seguinte, que eu... Oi?
Peraí, só falar pra ele. We have a large question here in the sequence Johnny JS was saying, but it's about the stock market, so we're gonna skip it because it makes no sense, okay?
E tem uma... O que ele ia dizer?
Não, acho que ele só falou ok, pode seguir.
E tem uma que diz assim, ó, o que o SO te fez para você guardar um rancor tão grande ao ponto de nos deixar 3 meses sem uma recessão decente? Eu vou alterar essa pergunta, tá? Porque primeiro que o Patrick não controla o cenário financeiro, né? Tem o algoritmo. Agora eu vou alterar essa pergunta e faço a seguinte pergunta para ele, ó. Algum momento ele interferiu no cenário financeiro, ou ele deixa o cenário financeiro que o algoritmo tome conta do cenário financeiro, ou se em algum momento ele teve que interferir, né? Devido a muitas recessões, ou muito boom, algo do gênero.
Okay. The original question, I don't know what players think, but the original question was, what did the SO players did to you to have such anger and leave us 3 months without a good recession sequence? But JS changed the question. Yeah, JS changed the question and asked, we know the economy phase was generated by an algorithm, but any time in the history, did you need to step in and change the economy manually because it's not changing or something like that?
Well, I did change once or twice. I changed the probabilities.
Okay.
But it wasn't like I would step in and force the boom to come or something like that. But yeah, like at some point I ran simulation and I saw that, okay, most of the time is recession. That's not good. I need to tweak the percentages a little bit. But yeah, it's if anybody is interested and math savvy, the economy models are a Markov model, yes. Markov chain, I think it's called. So if you Google that and see that on Wiki, you'll see pretty much how that works. And those percentages, the probability of transitions, call it properly, are not disclosed. But players tracking the changes are already getting really close to know those.
By brute force, they are tracking and getting close.
Oh yeah, of course. Like unless I'm changing them, they will become public at some point. But okay. that won't change how the game works. They still won't be able to forecast.
Okay, so you never force it manually. You just change the chances of changing, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's nice. But can you tell us there is a long recession or a long boom? You changed to have more booms or more recessions?
Less recessions and more of other stuff.
Okay. Next question.
O Patrick Noel, tá? O Patrick Noel vai nos visitar com estrelinhas esse ano, no caso, sim boosts, né? Eu fiquei imaginando o Patrick descendo numa chaminé com sim boosts, né?
Essa é a última?
É a última. Mas depois eu vou fazer uma que é minha mesmo. Eu vou fazer umas perguntas minhas que eu tô... Aqui na minha cabeça que eu fiz já, eu vou perguntar também.
Okay. So this is the last question from the Brazilian community. JS have one or two questions, personal questions. But the question is, will Santa Patrick visit us and give some little blue stars at Christmas this year? I don't know. Some players told me that last Christmas, I think they received a gift. I don't. I didn't play.
Right. Yeah, we'll probably do a Christmas present this year as well.
Okay, so hold on, guys. The blue stars
those are
coming.
popular.
That's the most popular gift in the game, right? So.
Yeah. And also, after the aerospace was released and there was too much turmoil and too many changes, I was also giving out free stars as a kind of compensating. But I hope we won't have such a bad situation after the food release.
No, the food release will not require this.
It will be smooth. It will be smooth and everybody will love it.
Diga aí, Jonathan, você tem qual pergunta você quer fazer?
Eu tenho uma pergunta aqui que eu acabei de formular, que é a seguinte. Ele fez alguma faculdade, né? Ou ele é autodidata? Tipo, ele aprendeu tudo por conta própria, né? A programação. Porque nós sabemos que o Sim Companies é um jogo muito complexo, né? Então eu tenho essa curiosidade. Ele fez alguma faculdade ou ele é autodidata? Ele aprendeu tudo por conta própria?
Okay. So JS was asking if you made any university or college to learn programming, or if you learn it by yourself.
Right. CV question. No, I was programming as a kid since I was like 12. Okay. But then that was really like kind of scripting, I'd say. I wasn't very good. And then I went to a university to learn coding. I had 3 years of software engineering and then 2 years of machine learning and AI.
Nice.
And that's it. And then I worked in finance for a few years. So I learned about the trading and the markets and stuff like that.
Okay. Thanks.
O que ele falou? Ele falou que é autodidata ou que ele fez faculdade?
Não, ele falou que ele fez curso e também trabalhou no mercado financeiro, mas aguarda a tradução aí.
Certo.
JS wants to know the answer.
Eu tenho mais pergunta. Quando ele criou o Sim Companies, né? Quando ele começou a criar o Sim Companies, ele iniciou tudo sozinho, né? Ou ele tinha um braço direito que ajudou ele, assim, desde o começo a criar o Sim Companies, né?
Okay. JS was asking if when you created the game, you are alone or you have help of someone who help you developing and programming?
Mm-hmm. I was developing myself, but I tried to outsource other stuff like graphics and even some marketing. So a lot of people helped me on the way, but coding was done mainly by me up until, I don't know. Are you still guys there? It's kind of freezing.
No, we are.
All right. Okay. Yeah. No, like since mid-August now we have another full-time developer. So right now there's 2 of us working on it, and even before that there were a few volunteers who offered to help.
Yeah.
So yeah, after the game became more popular, there were players helping me out, even with coding.
Perfect. Ok. Mais alguma questão aí, Jonathan?
Eu soube, né, que ele deixou o emprego dele pra focar 100% no Sim Companies, né? Ele, tipo assim, ele já imaginava que um dia ele ia entrar de cabeça nesse projeto, assim, a ponto de se dedicar 100% a ele, como ele tá fazendo agora, tipo...
Essa é a última?
É.
Ok. So that's the last question from Jonathan. He's asking, we know you quit your job to dedicate 100% to Sim Companies. Did you ever imagine this, or it was a surprise to you too?
It was a surprise. I still can't really believe it, but it's great.
Yeah, that's a dream, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Eu tenho mais uma, hein?
Ah, Jonathan.
A última, agora é a última vez. Como é que foi pra ele? Porque assim, ele criou um jogo que hoje tem, milhares e milhares de jogador, né, cara? Como é que foi pra ele quando ele, sei lá, bateu os 100 primeiros players dele, né? Tipo, como é que foi pra ele, tipo assim, como é que ele se sentiu vendo a comunidade dele crescendo, assim?
Okay, Jonathan don't wanna end the podcast. He wants to keep asking questions to you.
É a última. Diz pra ele que é a última, viu?
He told me this is the real last one. So he's asking, what did you feel when you see the first 100 players, or when the game reached 1,000 players? How did you feel seeing I don't know, your creation, your son growing up?
Yeah, it's similar. It's like your baby growing, and yeah, like first, basically at the very beginning, when you go to the homepage, it would compute the CV of all players at the time on request on the fly, and the homepage started falling apart. I had to implement that rollover job that does it once a day and then just displays. And even that, I had some sort of limit, like fetch first 500 players. Mm-hmm. And when I was typing that, I was like, oh, that's never gonna go over that. It's just, that's 500. That's enough. And then after a month or two, people are asking why they do not have any rank, and I had to find out that this was the issue. And then also, what was it, 2 weeks ago, the rollover started failing because KMP had more money than 2 to the power of 31. So yeah. that was also like what the hell happened here? Never thought that would be an issue. So it still kind of amazes me how the game is growing.
And still need to work on the basis, right? Because this KMP situation, I just left when I saw it.
Yeah, it was like this is really the cause of the issue, and it was surprisingly hard to fix. Actually, I thought I'll just change the casting there, but it wasn't. I didn't know how to do it, so it took half a day.
Nice. Ok, sem mais perguntas, né, Jonathan?
Eu disse pra ele que eu nem dormi hoje, que eu nem dormi, fiquei tanto esperando. Eu já tenho mais 107 perguntas pra fazer pra ele. Não, disse pra ele que é brincadeira no final, tá? Disse pra ele que é uma brincadeira. Menos a parte que eu fiquei acordado. A parte que eu fiquei acordado é sério.
JS was saying that he had 107 more questions, but then he says a joke. But the truth, he said he really stayed up late. He didn't sleep today because this podcast. Yeah, but that's because people don't know, right? But that's because it's really early here. We start recording at 6 a.m. Brazilian time. So,
wow.
Yeah, JS didn't sleep, so he's wake up late until very late. Okay.
Thanks for being up so early.
Yeah.
Yeah, to accommodate my schedule. I'm very lucky that so many players find the game entertaining, and that this actually is possible, because without your support, we wouldn't have a game, and I wouldn't be able to be on it full time. So thank you very much to everyone who's playing and supporting. I appreciate it. And I hope we'll keep doing this for a few more years, at least.
For sure. We will be here for a few more years. Ok, so JS, quer dar um tchau aí?
Gostaria de agradecer, né, a ele, né, pela presença, né? Dizer que, eu nunca gostei de matemática, e depois que eu conheci os Syncompanies, agora tudo eu faço conta, né? Conta, sempre fazendo conta. Então agradecer ele por esse jogo ter me trazido mais interesse na matemática, né? Que é muito importante. E agradecer a todos que ouviram até o final, né? Todos que fizeram suas perguntas também, né? Que mandaram perguntas aí pra nós. Muito obrigado pela presença dele, só isso mesmo, e pode seguir aí, Maurício.
JS was saying thank you for being here with us. He never liked math in the college, but he loves math now because of the game, so he needs to make the calculations. So he said
It's
thank
great.
you. Yeah, and thank you everyone for listening. I don't know, you have any final thoughts, Patrick, so we can end it?
I'm good. Well, thanks everybody for listening, and thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you so much, so people, for listening us. Until the next episode, see you and goodbye.
Bye bye.
Tchau, tchau, galera. Obrigado.